In this video, we're going to talk about why authors or publishers rebrand their covers and my cover rebranding for The Stolen Kingdom. I am dying to share this cover with you. It is a business move, even though I have moved super fast. There is intentionality behind it. There's a ton of good reasons. Before I get into my reasons, I want to actually talk to you about some of the reasons that authors do rebranding, both in the traditional and the self-published space. It's actually a really common thing. Let me show you. Let me take you over to my bookshelf. I'm going to start with my favorite series of all time. This is The Lunar Chronicles. I'm sorry that book 1 is not here because Cinder is being loaned out because I want people to read it. This is the series that actually got me into the idea of writing retellings, but it also got me into the idea of being a writer, a fiction writer in general. I wish that you could see the first cover. It's my favorite with the glass slipper, but this is a Rapunzel retelling, so you can see the hair. Now I'm making a mess, hold on. Here's the Scarlet one, which is a Red Riding Hood retelling. This is a Snow White retelling, so you can see how perfect they are, and I'll flash Cinder up on the screen too since I don't have my copy. You can see how perfect it is with the glass slipper, but it also shows that there's like a robot cyborg vibe to it, which is so cool. If you haven't read this series, definitely read this series. My foot's falling asleep, ow. So this series just got rebranded. I'm gonna pop it on the screen here. You can see they're all super different, and we'll talk about why they're so different in a minute, because fans like me who love the old covers are like, I don't know how I feel about that, but it's reaching new readers. Again, we'll talk about this. Another one that got rebranded is the Shadow and Bone series, and I think this is also really recent right here. So this is by Leigh Bardugo. I'm gonna flash the other pictures up on the screen. I actually can't even remember them right now, but I remember going to the store to get this series. Let me show you the other ones really quick too. There's the middle book, and then this is the third one. My bookshelf is going to be a disaster after this. And I remember going to the bookstore wanting the old covers, and I was really sad because, again, I didn't really love these. I loved the old covers. I think the Winter's Curse series also got rebranded. I'll show you guys these covers. I'm pretty confident that they did. I'll have to obviously cut this out if they didn't, but I'm pretty sure that they did. So here's book 3, this is book 2 for The Winter's Curse, and then this is book 1, which, by the way, is part of the reason that I got this series, because this cover did call to me, whereas the old covers didn't. And you're probably already figuring out what I'm gonna say about that. But let's take you up really quick to The Throne of Glass. And I have the last book. Let me pull it up here, this thick one, and I've just read these books at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. I've got The Throne of Glass. This one looks so cool to me. I'm trying to remember what the other one looks like. I think it was like a girl just by herself on the cover, and honestly it didn't look nearly as fantasy as this right here. Again, I'll flash it up on the screen so you can kind of just see the differences. Isn't that unique how different they are? So yeah, it probably goes without saying, but when you do a rebrand, the first step is to not do something exactly like your old books. I'm gonna actually keep going with this because this is really fun. I'm gonna take you down to one of my favorite series actually ever. I have a lot of favorites, but this is The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. This book, you guys, oh my gosh, I read this as a kid, so I know it's older. Like, it's gotta be at least 15, if not 20 years old. I could look at the cover, hold on. Copyright 1996. It's 24 years old. And so I think that, again, I'm really assuming a lot here, but I know that I didn't find out about the other books in this series until just a few years ago. And when I found out, I was like, where have they been all my life? This book was so good, I have to read the next book. So I got the other 3 books, but what you're gonna notice here is that these two, I'm making a mess again. These two match each other. I'm gonna actually display them, hold on. Let me make this pretty. These two right here match each other really nice. Here is the first one. Let me just get real fancy here. Come on, stay. This is like a style that people loved back whenever it was published. Here's the next 2 that came out. And then I got the 4th book in the series, and it looks like this. So you can see how they don't match at all. So this series has gone through at least 3 rebrandings in its lifetime, which is totally fine and wonderful, because that leads to the next reason that authors do it, which is to breathe new life into the series and get readers excited again. So we're gonna shove those over there because I wanna also talk about extras. Uglies? Extras? I don't know what the series is called. The series is unclear to me. So here's Uglies. We have Specials, I think these are not in order, and Pretties. Oh my gosh, my shelf is going to be such a mess. But hold on, I can find it. Oh hey, there's Cinder. I guess I do have it after all. Sorry guys, I guess I got my copy back and I forgot about it. I'm just gonna put it on the floor for now in this big old pile that I have going on. What the heck? Oh, right here. It's right here. See, it's so different from the other covers that I couldn't even find it. This is the 4th book in the series that I just showed you, the Ugliest, Specials, and Pretties, and then there's extras. This, I think, is the older one, 2007, and then this one is 2011. So yeah, I had the older one, and I got like a used copy because I found it and I just was like, yeah, I want this one. I don't really care if they match. They don't match at all. And so this is the first branding of the Ugliest series, or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna have to clean this up quick. Oh, one more, hold on. Let me bring it up here to one more that got a recent rebranding as well, and this is another reason, similar to the Megan Whalen Turner, The Thief, is that it's been out for a while. This is Graceling. Oh, there's a shine here, hold on. How's that? So you guys can see Graceling is, oh my gosh, this cover is gorgeous. And by the way, this book is amazing. I think I'm due for a reread of this series. There's 2 more in the series. But I noticed when I was at Barnes & Noble that it just recently came out with a new cover. Maybe not recently, maybe it's been a while now. But anyway, I'll flash the cover of this on the screen so you can see the difference. What I'm thinking with this series is I've actually heard that publishers will eventually take a book off the shelf, no matter how amazing it is. Like, this book is so amazing. It's been on the shelves for a long time. And at the same time, like Barnes & Noble and booksellers only keep books on their shelves for so long before they make room for new books. So another reason to do rebrandings is to make the book new. So now this book, the new version of it with the new cover, is considered a brand new release. And so now Barnes & Noble can keep it on their shelves for another year, 2 years, I don't know how long really. I'm just gonna shove that right there. I really need to clean up my shelves because this is just, it's getting sad, especially the floor part. Also, let me just show you this really quick. Okay, back to the video. One other series that's not on my shelves, but I think is worth mentioning because it's been rebranded at least once, if not like 20 times, is the Harry Potter series. So I'll have to Google it, which will be really interesting to see, and I'll pop up some of the like differing styles of the covers for you. And yeah, it's just so interesting to see. So I've got my little list here, reasons that authors rebrand. Before I keep going, let me show you my corgi shirt. This is from Mandy and Bree. They got it for me a while ago. Just so you guys don't wonder like what's on her shirt the whole video. It's a corgi representing the crazy dog lady. Okay, so I wrote down the 4 reasons that I could think of that authors rebrand and publishers rebrand their covers. And I'm sure that there's more. And obviously I haven't gone and talked to a publisher. This is my experience. This is sometimes reading through the lines and sometimes hearing things. So sparking new interest is obvious. I mentioned this with the Lunar Chronicles and also I think the Throne of Glass series and maybe the Winter's Curse, where if you have reached your initial audience, right? And you've like gotten every reader possible, because those books were big. Those books were still going strong. Like I think when I was publishing The Stolen Kingdom, I remember noticing that the Lunar Chronicles were in my category and they were like top 100 still, and they've been out for a long time. So when a publisher is rebranding something that's already doing that well, in my mind, it is to reach a brand new audience. The people who saw the first covers and they're like, that's not really my thing. Like with the Winter's Curse or the Throne of Glass series, the first covers weren't really my thing. But when you get those second covers, the rebranding, you reach people like me who didn't want it the first time. They were like, yeah, that's not really my style. It's not really what I read. But then you give me the next cover and I'm like, I'm in. Give me that book. So that's kind of a mix between the first 2, which is sparking new interest, reaching new readers. And then the third one is if the genre needs to be more accurate. So I do think this was true with the Throne of Glass series, and also part of my reason for rebranding, just kind of giving you a little sneak peek and a hint, where you see that the first book cover is gorgeous. And also maybe sometimes we think that it's the right genre. Like for example, in my case, there are so many fantasy covers with castles on them that I thought I'm totally in the right genre. This is totally, you know, it fits in with everything else, right? I thought so, and I kept thinking that for months, okay? And I'll get to my story in a minute. But when you have covers like that and then you rebrand, and you kind of take a better, closer look at the genre, you'll realize sometimes that the publisher or the self-published author is actually trying to make it fit the genre more. And it's actually a huge thing. Again, we'll talk about how important it is to meet reader expectations in a second, and how crucial it can be to give them a book that looks like the other books that they read, so that they know they're going to like this story. And then the last thing on my list that I am probably not going to touch on in this video at all is just that something could have happened with the cover designer. I've heard of authors have to cancel their covers altogether. I've also had issues in the past with my cover designers, and I've also heard stories and experienced this myself where cover designers just aren't very professional, and sometimes they don't help you meet deadlines, or they don't follow through on what they're going to do, and it's unfortunate. And it's something that, again, working with people, I've talked about this before. Go watch my video on how hard it is to self-publish. I'll link it below if you want to hear more about that. But just working with people can sometimes lead to problems, and so I assume that this is probably true in traditional publishing as well. Sometimes maybe a cover designer will stop being a cover designer, and when they go to, you know, do the next cover, because it takes years in traditional publishing to publish, maybe that cover designer isn't even working anymore. Or maybe cover trends change by the time your next book comes out, and you're just like, I don't think this is quite fitting the genre anymore. So then you can do a full rebrand as well. And it's expensive, but if it's going to help your career and help you sell a lot more books, then it can be worth it. So imagine, like with my books, I said this in my Patreon post where I explain in more detail. If you want to check out my Patreon, I'll link it below. But I always give my patrons like the full scoop, the behind the scenes and all the details. So I have a big post on that. On this cover decision. And anyway, so what I told my patrons is that, like, imagine if you have readers who are really brave and they're willing to try new things. So you are selling because your cover's beautiful, and maybe you have readers who have heard about it a lot, because you have the rule of 7 in marketing, where if you hear about it enough, you become more familiar with it and you're like, okay, I could probably buy that. Or maybe you have readers who have heard about it from friends, and so they have that word of mouth, which is also very helpful in selling books. And so those 3 things can make a reader still pick up a book if the cover is beautiful, which I do think the Stolen Kingdoms cover is gorgeous. But beautiful does not always equal sales. What does equal sales, in my opinion, is familiarity. So, you know that saying where, like, don't judge a book by its cover? It's totally false. Every reader judges books by the cover, whether they realize it or not. And so just picture yourself when you're looking at books, if you see one that you like, it's usually because it reminds you of other books that you like. And so very commonly, there will be certain tropes in covers in each genre that will hint at what is in that story. And so we're gonna go into that next, and I'm gonna show you how, as I was working really hard with the cover designer to make my book cover, my new cover, fit the genre more, there were certain things that we had to change and work around and get rid of, and things we had to add to make it more fantasy. And so, okay, enough talking about that. I want to show you my new cover. Okay, drum roll. Ah, I'm so excited. Okay, here it is. This is my brand new cover for the Stolen Kingdom. I am so obsessed with it. Not only is the character on the front cover perfect for Ari, I'm gonna zoom in on her face for you because she's got this like kind of an innocence, and then there's also some fear, but there's also this bravery, like I am going to figure this out. Just so much attitude and emotion in the model that the cover designer picked. I looked at the other designs and I was like, this is the one. And this video is getting really long, so I'm actually going to do a part 2 on my channel, which I will link below once it's live. You can just go there right after this one, and it's going to have how I actually picked these specific features in the cover, how I wanted it to line up with the fantasy genre, the things we got rid of, the things that we added to make that work. What else? How I worked with the cover designer, the thumbnail test that I did to make sure that it was actually going to work in my genre. All of that, we're gonna do that next. I hope you enjoyed me throwing my books on the floor and being crazy, and I'm really, really excited about this cover. I really hope that you liked it. There are more cover goodies coming soon. There's reasons behind why I did this. I can talk strategy in a video soon, and I'm gonna talk again about the behind the scenes very soon. Maybe I'll merge that together, maybe I won't. I don't really know what I'm doing right now. This is very just in the moment, excited, a little bit messy, and just so excited. So anyway, let me know in the comments if you like the cover. There is a reason that there's a character on the cover. I know it doesn't appeal to everybody. I don't actually enjoy characters on the cover usually, but I'm obsessed with this one. So anyway, Bethany, stop talking. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye. I should probably add that I have all these fun decisions ahead of me, like when do I actually go and put the new cover on the book, on the ebook first of all, and then when do I do the other things that I have in mind, like a hardcover, FYI, is in the works, and then also eventually the paperbacks. I'm going to give the paperbacks some time, so if you haven't gotten it yet and you want the original cover, the one that's out there right now, go get it quickly because it's going to be gone soon. But I just want to let you guys know that I will keep you posted, but if you really want to know what all is going on behind the scenes, definitely check out my Instagram. I'll pop the link here. That's where I pretty often let people know. And then also my newsletter is linked below. Go check that out and sign up because you will be in the loop. And the only people who are more in the loop are my patrons because they find out everything first. So I'll also link my Patreon below. Go check it out if you want to know all the secrets and the behind the scenes stuff. That's where I share, and I'll keep you guys in the loop when I decide what to do. All right, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe below, and let me know if you like the cover, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.